The globe is a fact. So tis globe. That's their reasoning. It is globe. That's all they say.
There's something we all know to be true. About this, there's no need to be blue. As plain as the nose upon your face, where straight lines can be replaced. It has to be, all the people sing.
Tis globe, tis globe.
It's such a wonderful thing.
So tis globe.
No corners here, just round and smooth. Every inch a path to prove. A spinning mind is full of grace. A joyous dance in every place. It has to be, all the people sing.
Tis globe, tis globe.
It's such a wonderful thing.
It is globe. That's all they say.
No corners here, just round and smooth. Every inch a path to prove. A spinning mind is full of grace. A joyous dance in every place. It has to be, all the people sing.
Tis globe, tis globe.
It's such a wonderful
The
thing.
globe is a fact. So tis globe. That's their reason.
There's no need for logic here. Everyone knows tis glow, no fear. Round and round we go again. Together where joy never ends. It has to be, all the people sing.
Tis globe, tis globe.
It's such a wonderful thing.
It is globe. That's all they say.
Shorter than a straight line can be true. If you imagine the shadows gave it you. Tis globe, tis globe.
Tis globe, tis
Everyone
globe.
sing, tis globe, tis globe. It's
So,
globe,
tis
it's such
globe,
a wonderful
tis globe.
thing. Tis globe,
It is globe. That's all they say. So tis globe, tis globe. Tis globe. That's all they say.
It has to be.
Tis globe.
It has to be. All the people
So
sing.
tis globe, tis globe, tis globe.
It's such a wonderful thing.
And we are live, but I don't know how long for, to be honest, because I'm not feeling too well. Well, that's a good start. Welcome everybody. It is a free for all Friday, for what that matters. As you've just heard, tis globe, but it seems to be in an arena that never has had a proof. People get worried. They get troubled. They get troubled by us saying tis globe, right? We've got a proof. Who wants to hear it? No one. So it seems like this, whatever we have here, I've been listening around the arena for quite a while, obviously. And it seems like the flat earthers, strangely enough, although we did say it, that they would have to take our arguments. And it seems like the globe guys are going to have to take our arguments too. So they're having a fight now over arguments from reality. It's provable that level is horizontal. I mean, there is a word in reality. Horizontal, you might have heard of it. All horizontals are parallel to the plane of the horizon. If you look underneath this video, there's a short section about level being a straight line on a horizontal plane. It's been on there for years. It's only a fact of reality, the real globe. This where this occurs. There is a problem though, because a lot of people either can't or won't put it on their globe. They imagine that this real globe is flat, even though they acknowledge mountains and valleys. Shout out Owen Benjamin. Seems to be one of the only ones that can get away with it within the flat earth community. Although we've been saying it for ages. The fact that level is horizontal doesn't prove anything other than the fact that level's horizontal. That level and plumb, perpendicular. Geometric understanding allows you to be able to say that. But we're in we're in an arena where people don't seem to understand or be able to relate reality, and it's because people don't have an understanding of reality. I'm gonna have to redo that GIF. It's too jerky. I'm gonna have to sort that one out, Mike. I will. I'll sort that out at some point. So yeah, here we go. It's a free for all Friday. Everyone is able to come over here and have a chat. Even these flat earthers that say that they're open for conversation, but then they ban everybody, so nobody can actually converse with them. And they've said some really stupid things over the last few weeks and whatnot. But I mean, we can't tell them. We can't point it out to them. We can't go in there and just point out how ridiculous they're being, because, well, they don't want to hear it. So if there are any flat earthers out there that are brave enough to be able to just come and have a conversation about reality, pop on in, have a chat. I've noticed there's a few other people opened up other channels. Discussing reality is going to be, well, I don't know whether it's going to be allowed or not. You have to take one side of the false dichotomy. Don't point out the false dichotomy. Anyway, today we're going to go over we are going to go over a video. I think we're going to go over it. It depends if I can be bothered or whether I will be allowed to. So I guess not many people are interested in this sort of stuff. Although there seems to be a lot of people interested in it when other people talk absolute shite. And these are the arguments. If you've been listening to any of the arguments recently that any of the people have been trying to push, particularly the Globe guys, well, they're having their own little thing. Flat Earthers, they're having their little thing as well. We do have tests if anybody wants to come and go over them. I don't know how many times we have to say it. It's pretty obvious nobody does want to actually go over any of these tests that have already been done, already been implemented. So has anybody got anything they want to chat, talk about? Probably not. Just, don't know. Go over, don't know. It's not even worth sharing this out, is it? In fact, why are we doing this? What's going on? I was going to go over a video. A shout out to Brian Leakey. He did a video earlier in the week. It seems like he's been stopped making any more videos. Oh, he's here. Brian Leakey, 1 minute. He might be coming over for a chat. Yeah, I think he's the only flat earther that's actually bothered about conversing, particularly about this arena. We've all said that this arena, that it's relating reality to well, how you relate reality to reality. How you decide where your knowledge comes from. Within these arenas that we've been talking to, within these little rooms, there seems to be people who claim to be experts about certain things. I don't think anybody here has ever claimed to be any sort of an expert of anything. Just to go over it, I have a surveying certificate, but it's like the lowest level you can. It does have land surveying on it as a title though, so I'm proud of it for that reason, because I think when I was doing land surveying and going over it and gaining this certificate, was the last time anybody really got land surveying on their certificates, because soon after it changed to geodetic surveying, and so everybody titled nowadays becomes a geodetic surveyor. So there is no real difference between surveyors. It's just that they used to be called land surveyors, and nowadays, new title change, everybody gets to be a geodetic surveyor. It's the same thing, same job. They're still surveying reality. There's no different reality, and reality doesn't differ. Whenever they do the surveying, they survey locally using certain tools. Now, one of those tools is something that we've been going over for quite a bit. It's got a tool called a level, and this level establishes a horizontal plane of reference. That's what we're doing. That's what we've been doing. We've been going over it. We even show people what the view from one of these tools looks like. We attempted to do that for a bit ago, and a certain group of people decided to, I don't know, I think they said that the place in the distance on the horizon was lower. It just dropped, but I mean, it didn't. It just looked like that. So strange that a certain group of people do that sort of thing. So we have to overcome what appears to be, through vision optics, as to what actually happens in reality. We've been trying to explain that to people. Doesn't seem to have gone in, or it doesn't fit the false dichotomy narrative that's been built up over the years, and it has been built up by characters. Certain characters have decided to deem themselves the pinnacle, tip of the spear. Tip of the sphere, whichever way you want to look at it. There are certain, like, I don't think ever in history there's ever been, well, I suppose, certain people that get together and imagine that they are the pinnacle of certain endeavours. It's quite easy to do that when you're talking about something that doesn't exist. Gets a little bit more tricky when you're actually talking about reality. What's happened to us seems to be that the people that have made stuff up and are living in a fantasy don't want to be reminded about reality, and they don't seem to have an ability to converse about the reality that they're they've made a fantasy around this reality. We're just interested in talking about reality. It seems like we have to move on from the ridiculous argument and delve into the people. Can we say that? I think we've dealt with the arguments. Now we have to deal with the characters that have generated what we see today. This arena has been made by certain people. And a bit ago, a few years ago, when I first started looking into this sort of thing, it seems like people were actually talking together. They were coming together. There was all sorts of things happening. But then a few people started putting division within this arena. I mean, the division was always there. There's certain people that, don't like what other people say. So they say that they're lying, and, that's an easy way to get around it. Groups form, They tell stories about other people in other groups, and those stories proliferate. There's no communication between the groups, so they're allowed to be able to get away with these things. In fact, certain people say, don't watch certain people. Don't do that. And I think that's all been generated so people don't watch, so then they don't find out that the arguments that will later be used have already been done, already been said, already been had, already been made by other people. And within this arena, these arguments, they don't go anywhere because people are delusional. We've had people just recently, very recently, telling me, I have, that horizontal and vertical aren't perpendicular over there. Because they are perpendicular here. But they can't be over there for some reason. Although when you go over there to go and check it, you'll find out they are perpendicular. Everywhere. So the understanding of it all is a bit, I don't know.
What's going on, Bev?
All right. Good day, Brian. Saw your video earlier this week. I thought it was good. Did it get much traction?
Yeah, man. It's a little bit, It's just one of them things, man. I think it's, to me, in my opinion, that's where the division started, the main division, and it's just snowballed from there, man. You're right. It just keeps dividing. It's crazy, man. That's why I try to stay a free agent, man. This is like I said. I'll always give you props for this, because in every little division there is a group who thinks they know for sure that they know how it works, how it all works, or how their main thing works. Like, you got the ether guys, you got the FED guys, you got Dell and them, you got just different. You got the electrostatic crew. So the one, I'll give you props on this. The thing you stand behind is basic fundamentals, man, and it's a tough one to go wrong, man. I do remember a time when we all used to join in streams and all talk about things, and yeah, that's a thing of the past, man. But at least I'll give you that. You stick to the fundamentals, man. The one thing you stick behind is backed up by reality and axioms, man. So I'll give you props on that, Bev. But yeah, for anybody who doesn't know what I'm talking about, it's QE. I'll post it in the live text, man. But it's on my channel, Flat Earth Tests, where he was just like making fun of just an entire onslaught of people just for being curious, man, and trying to it was with the TFE, like they're giving away a free vacation supposedly. Who knows if it's even real, but just for an email. So I'm like, shit, for an email, I'll send an email.
Yeah, you were our choice, Brian. We thought of I mean, this is what we think, right, about this arena that we're in. Obviously, it's a tiny little arena because we're not really that interested in flat Earth. Never really have been. It's these globe guys that, they called me a flat earther, and I'm like, I'm not a flat earther. So, of course, you want to go and have a conversation with the flat earthers, and we've found that we're not flat earthers, right? These flat earthers that we end up talking to always, every time, get super triggered and start shouting and, I don't know, stressing out.
I never understood it, man. Never understood it. How can you go to streams with everyone? Be cordial? How can you get kicked out of channels or just bitched out of channels when you're not, you're just being cordial and just stating facts? It's just the damnedest thing, man.
Crazy, isn't it?
I understand that.
Yeah, we were saying that of all of the people, I mean, let's say this final experiment, right? You put your thing in, and as did a lot of other flat earthers. I think he said 40 other flat earthers. Now, I don't know when he vetted them for the 2-year, because it was a requirement, wasn't it, that they had to have been flat earthers for 2 years. So maybe he whittled 30 of them out because, you know, they weren't actual flat earthers, or they hadn't been flat earthers for a long enough period, or whatever.
You said Dan the Waterman put in an application, but he wanted too much money, or he wanted money to go along with it.
Yeah,
And at the
sweeteners.
time they sent me here's what they did. They sent me a thing saying for you're a finalist. In the email response, it made it sound like it was like between me and one other person, maybe 2 other people. And I was like, cool, you know,
Yeah.
I'll join his stream. It was a StreamYard, and the next thing you know, it's a whole bunch of people. And I didn't really recognize them. Since then, I looked at, I went back and watched it, and I was like, wait a minute, I know this dude. And then I recognized a couple of them, and then I noticed, I talked to Cassidy briefly, and chatted with her briefly, and realized like we're in 6 Discord rooms together, been in Discord rooms together. I'm like, yeah, these people are just people around, half of them at least, including myself. And I see, QE sitting here dogging him like it's like Will Duffy's parade, and I'm like, dude, everybody sees what he's trying to do, but these are just people, dude.
Yeah.
And QE's saying none of them are flat earthers or whatever. And I consider myself an active flat earther as far as fighting against the globers and stuff, debating anyway, not fighting. But for him to just make that statement, and it was just like, dude. So I guess Josh Monday, been doing podcasts for 5 years and all kinds of music, some real good music. He ain't a flat earther. Chris Crum, who does performances at the Flattoberfest festivals. I guess he ain't. Cassidy, we've been in same Discord rooms debating and chatting for a few years. 6 different Discord rooms. I guess she ain't. And I'm just looking into these people, and realizing that I recognize a handful of them, and I know myself. So this is how I know QE's lying, because I don't know for sure any of these other people. I guess anything's possible. I'll go that route. But I'm going to say, I know me. I know myself. And if you tell me what I am, then I know you're lying, because I know for a fact what I consider myself. And he's just saying, that he's talking about Will Duffy's parading it around like flat earthers are insane, or they're just whatever. And while he's streaming it, so he plays it. He has a stream and pretty much to bash me from exposing him a couple years back on a few little things. But he's laughing about me and all this shit, and he's making fun. I had a Band-Aid on my nose. I just got in a bad car wreck, dude. A car. I was on a bike going like 55, dude, and the car smashed into me, dude. I'm lucky, man, but to even walk away with a couple
helmet.
broke ribs, broke nose and stuff. No helmet, man. Stupid, man. Stupid. But it was wet outside. The road was wet, so I slid, so it didn't get me too bad. It didn't tumble me too much. Just broke a couple ribs and broke my nose and split my head open. But I was able to walk away, man. Believe it or not, I was jarred, man, pretty bad. But and this dude sitting here making fun of me and stuff about a Band-Aid, and he's talking about Will Duffy's parading it around. I'm like, this is the 3rd stream. That's like the 3rd time you watched it. You had to make the stream to watch it. Then you've already had the stream on your channel. Now you brought it over to Nathan's showing it and saying Will Duffy's parading these people around like they're flat earthers. I'm like, dude, if anybody's parading it around, dude, it's you. You're the one going over it and going to other rooms with it and all that. But I just clipped out a little bit of each person. I'm like, dude, these are just normal people, man. You ain't no better than these damn people. You don't know what they are.
Yeah, well, I was thinking
what they are.
I was thinking that Will Duffy is actually trying to make a new flat Earth, right? But he has to, right? If anybody's like this, and you're going to go to Antarctica or whatever, it doesn't really matter. right? Wherever you're going to go to, you want to be able to communicate with these flat earthers. Now,
Yeah.
Will Duffy, obviously, he did offer Nathan, right, in the thing with New Moon, where New Moon was trying to bring Nathan into it, because I think New Moon wanted Nathan to be part of it, because, I mean, he could probably see that if Nathan isn't part of this flat earth experiment or whatever that's going to go on, then who's going to be the representative from their side? So the flat earth debate guys have just singled themselves out. They've like checked out of that whole thing.
Yeah, they're done with the you know, they've got it their script. They're pretty much, they got it nailed down where they don't have to argue. They know right how to cut it
They
off.
will have
right
to
at the,
though, right?
at the ankles.
All of the other flat earthers, everybody else that's involved in any of this, is gonna have to talk about it at least.
Yeah, I'm curious. I've always been curious, man. I'm pretty sure, in my opinion, my prediction is going to get canceled, man. That's what I've noticed in the past, and I've never been able to find any good evidence until recently. All of a sudden, it's popping up everywhere. But I've seen stuff like this in the past. I've seen it canceled, so that's my prediction. But hey, if it you know, but if they do go, so I either want to call their bluff or I want to, you know, go down there. I've always been curious, and so I figured, shit, I'll put in an email and I'll take it from there. You know,
Well,
nothing
what
more,
would
nothing
you
less,
take?
man.
You know, as evidence.
I'll tell you what I'd take. I would take, you know, just besides camera equipment and all that, I got like a thermal imager to bring, and I had to sell my P1000 unfortunately, but got another camera, but I would bring a little solar panel, like one of them small ones with a little voltage output and a little meter, just some small stuff, man, some smaller equipment. I would bring, well, I got you know, there's little theodolite apps on the phone, because I've heard that down there where the air's crystal clear and cool, like the visibility is incredible. And so on the plane ride in, I would measure the horizon, you know, because what I've noticed is the further you can see, the closer up to eye level you'll see the horizon. Of course, it's underneath you in reality, but as far as what it appears, if you can see far enough, you know, the gap between yourself and the ground starts shrinking apparently, right? Just visibly. And so I was going to test that out, because like McToon shows the horizon in airplanes on, and you see muggy days just where you see your visibility is cut off by the atmosphere. And so the less distance you see, the bigger an angle to the ground you're going to measure. In other words, if it's foggy outside and you're standing outside and you can't see 4 feet, your horizon is basically going to be almost straight down, which that's a dumb extreme example, but just to say what I'm talking about. But if you could see 100 feet, then your horizon, you know, the angle starts rising up basically with distance, just because the gap from the ground and your eyes starts to shrink. I mean, this ain't nothing anybody doesn't know, you know, at least what I'm talking about. But so when you show horizons in airplanes with smoggy looking atmospheres, acting like it proves Earth curve or something, that's just ridiculous. So that, yeah, I wanted to do some measurements on the way in. What other ideas did I have? Yeah, I was gonna bring, like I said, one of them little solar panels that attach to the like the lawn lights, just to get some voltage readings before I go, and just see what the angles they're doing that they're talking about. You know, if the sun is doing what they're saying. But the sun, there's the way nature seems to work it out for me. It's like, let's say if they go down there, it's going to be some more in between bullshit. Like if there is a sun that does something like they're speaking of, it'll be like 10 degrees off of what the globe predicts or something. It seems like every test I ever do, it's never conclusive. It seems like, man, never 100% conclusive. But I personally don't think they're going down there, man. But I'm not scared to speak about it hypothetically, man. To me, it'd be just a free trip down there. Well, you know, I got the opportunity to go, man. Worth a try. But I guess I embarrassed flat Earth, and all 10 of us we're just embarrassments to some people. And I'm like, dude, we're just fucking people, bro.
Yeah,
Get over
I
it.
wouldn't worry about QE and Nathan. I mean, they do imagine that they're leading something, but their particular brand of flat Earth isn't the brand of flat Earth that anybody's ever going to use, because you can't communicate with people. Nathan shows people that his particular brand of flat Earth is uncommunicable, right? You cannot communicate what Nathan's talking about, because the moment somebody asks Nathan a question, that's it.
Yeah, he cut it off at the knees, man.
Yeah.
But I'll give him this as far as that little fiasco went. Like, he kind of stayed out of that one, man, which I kind of appreciated for whatever reason. He was like skip run and stuff, and because he knew what QE was doing, but QE pretty much insisted. But it is what it is. I got thick skin and all that, man, and I've done some videos on him. It's all good.
Have
But
you ever been
say,
over there to talk to Nathan though?
he invited me over, man. I was gonna go over there like Monday or Tuesday,
Yeah.
just to give you a heads up.
Yeah,
He
you
invited
should.
me over.
You should go over. Have a chat.
Yeah, I think I will. But there were some other things I was wanting to do too, man. Like if that trip does go through, I mean, just for the sake of going down there to South America, even I wanted to bring a compass and kind of check it on the way and stuff too. Just bring. And I've heard different things. If you look it up on Google, it's going to tell you there's 5 magnetic poles in the south, like 1 main one and 4 minors. It's like, what? What does that even mean? And you look at the magnetic declination, it's all wild. So I was just going to do some compass readings and stuff just to see if just a normal compass that I have, if it even works down there. I've heard that you need a different weighted type of compass. I've heard that they don't work down. I mean, I've just heard so many things over the years about the southern hemisphere, and the further you go, the thicker the stories get. It seems like, man. So I had a couple other ideas, man. If I remember them, I'll tell you.
Yeah. Well, yeah,
Yeah,
we've been
I
talking about that, haven't we? Yeah, Elderberry
Yeah,
said this.
yeah. I read the other day, and there's apparently 5 different types of compasses in different global areas. Um, and the northern hemisphere. There's a northern hemisphere compass and a southern hemisphere compass, and they don't work in either. The northern hemisphere one doesn't work in the south.
Is there
Because,
one for the east and one for the west as well?
Yeah, I guess.
And then one for
That's
central.
what the
Central, like sort of in
Yeah.
the middle of all of them.
yeah. So yeah,
It's a different polarity,
yeah.
man. The pole. I think SC was arguing this not too long ago, but and I think I seen something to back him up a little bit. But if it's a reverse polarity, then the needle would have to shift, like when you got a little ways past the equator or something. And I was
Well,
thinking, why would it do that? I was thinking,
Yeah.
I don't see why it would do that. But then I seen a video where a guy had a little map with like a North Pole magnet and a South Pole, like predominantly facing up, and he had the compass, and he was showing that the South pulls the needle, so it wasn't working when he was trying to circle around the globe. He was showing with the South Pole magnet, it was preventing the needle from following north. And I was thinking, man, that kind of backs SC's argument up that I wasn't 100% sure about. But you might be right. Like a northern hemisphere, if it's what they're saying, it might flip. I don't know.
I wondered. Excuse me. I wondered what is there something on the northern arm of the compass needle? That makes it more magnetically attracted. There's just that one, so it's just the north needle that will point to the north, and yeah, I was kind of wondering why just one needle point north. But they say that because it's you supposed to hold it horizontally, and because the angle of the the North Pole apparently is not straight up; it's pointing down. So they apparently put an extra weight on
Yeah.
the southern end to keep it balanced while it's in fluid. It's floating in fluid.
Yeah,
So
but so think about it, Elder Bear. So if it didn't flip, if it's weighted for the South Pole one, and let's say the red arrow always faces the magnetic field. So let's say it's facing north, and now we go down to the
So-
let's say we cross the equator, and if
Yeah.
the red needle, the one that's charged, faces south, why would they need to reweight it? It's still
Yeah, well,
weighted in the back or the
that-
front or whatever balances it. What do you think?
exactly. I mean, that's kind of what I was wondering. Well, why doesn't it just turn round so the needle that points north in the north, supposedly, why doesn't that just spin round and point in the other direction? But what they say is that because the southern needle is weighted, that when you're in the south, that the needle, why would the south needle be pointing towards, the magnetic south? But because it supposedly does, it drags it down with the extra weight, and then just grounds itself on the base of the compass body, and that's why it doesn't work.
Have you been listening to Creaky Blinder? Is that?
Well, it was
Creaky,
it was
Creaky
on there.
said this.
Yes, yeah. Well, that's where it came from, and I thought, no, there's not two different compasses, surely. And
He's
I
not the
looked, and,
compass expert, though, is he? I mean, like, isn't he just
no.
like he's a YouTuber that just says some
Yeah. It
weird
just got me
stuff,
thinking, then
innit?
looking at it to see, surely it's not so. But and then I was thinking, well, what is it that
why
makes
would it
just
need
that
to
one?
be weighted? Like, why?
Well, yes,
Where's
I mean,
it
obviously,
pointing to? It's pointing north.
Yeah, kind of horizontally. It seems like BS to me. I have heard that though, but it seems like what are they talking about? It's a little teeny little damn needle, but maybe
well,
it is.
yeah.
But
He doesn't
that's why I
think that
wanted
it
to do
should
it
be
myself
pointing
to
to the
see.
center of his ball, does he? And they have to weight it to stop it from pointing to the center of a ball. Because that sounds fucking ridiculous, doesn't it? Like, but I mean, if Creaky Blinder's done it, he must have them all set up.
Yeah.
There must be a test
Well, I guess
going
if
on.
you-
He must have something happening.
Yeah, I guess
Well,
if you're
let's say this,
standing and it's horizontal in
Sorry.
your hand, that in that paradigm, that the north is kind of below you.
That's what it says.
So
If
check
they
this out.
say
If
they're
we're on
It's
waiting
up.
south, then it has to
Yeah.
be doing that, right? Or that has to be
Well, that's
the
how they
thing that
explain it,
goes in
yes.
your mind. If you think
Yeah.
they're having to weight one end of it, why? Because the other one wants to point downwards, does it?
Ridiculous. I don't
that
believe
sounds
it.
fucking ridiculous.
It does, yes.
It sounds ridiculous to
yet
me
it's
too, man.
in a fluid.
But why would
What if I
somebody
hold it
say
upside
that?
down?
Right, that's a model affliction. That is one of the model afflictions where somebody says there's different compasses in the north than in the south because they
I don't
have
believe
to
it.
weight the arms because something occurs differently in these different places. Now, don't ask me, but I would say that's testable. Very easily.
Yeah.
Right.
Very, very easily.
That's why I was going to test it, man. Because it sounds like BS to me, but maybe it's true. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe it ain't BS, but it sounds just like ridiculous to me too. But I was thinking about on the globe. So listening to all their rhetoric with the globers. So if you start at the equator on the globe and you go toward the North Pole in a plane flight, a normal plane flight, straight toward the North Pole, let's say, you're going to wind up 1,000 miles to the right of it. Okay. If you fly in a straight line, beeline straight for the North Pole and don't make any adjustments, just a beeline straight line, you're going to wind up 1,000 miles to the right of the North Pole due to Coriolis, is what they say. So then you'd have to curve back around and in on it or whatever to get there. But then if you turn around and go south, you also will deviate to the right. So if you head right back down and you try and beeline a straight line down a longitude, we'll say, and you don't do any adjustments in their model, you're going to wind up 1,000 miles to the right. So you're going to go west one way and east the other way, but right both ways. But then it gets better because if you keep going past the equator, so going down south from the North Pole, you're going to start curving to the right. And then when you pass the equator, all of a sudden you're going to start curving to the left. That's what's got to happen on their model. It's like, dude, if I'm making a model, it's like if I was even trying to put together a model with some help or something, dude, if you've got 1,000-mile discrepancies at your mercy and magnetic declination that's just wildly freaking variant in the south, it's like, dude, you could model anything. I mean, you could pretty much put together any damn thing with that much leniency, man. It's just ridiculous claims, man. To me, they sound ridiculous. You know, like I'm just going to curve to the right, cross a imaginary line, and just start curving to the left. What the hell is that? That's just ridiculous to me, man. So I'd like to put some of these things to the test, you know.
Do you reckon those are the things that people will be doing? Now, you'd think if Creaky Blinder, he's an outstanding member of the Globe. No, they call themselves debunkers. Would that be right?
Yeah, I think they consider themselves debunkers, or what is it?
Well, so you'd think,
yeah,
that,
debunkers.
Yeah, that's got to be a test that's got to be happening on their side, right? They're going there to check this thing that Creaky Blinder seems to have done. I haven't watched the video. I've only been told about it. Weighted compasses. So I guess we're after somebody who lives far north to get us one of their compasses and check it works, right?
Yeah, Paige was going to send me one a while back, man, and we never did follow through with it, man.
I was in the south.
Yeah, and I'm in the north, and
you're not in the north.
I mean, I'm in the northern hemisphere, right?
Yeah, I know, but you want somebody who's like north. Like what you really want is somebody who lives in the furthest city north. And then you want them to swap it with somebody who lives, I don't know, New Zealand, and get their compass. Write the names on it, swap them over. Bish, bash, bosh. You don't need to go on any trip.
I bought some scales for the elevator to do a test to see if when the elevator hit a constant speed would it add any weight. So I got a scale for like only $20, and it measures like to the 100th of a gram, which is pretty for that price, dude. That's pretty impressive, man. They're not expensive at all, and besides that little test, that's a whole different subject. But so I was gonna do some tests on the way down. Because I've been hearing different things lately, because they say that you weigh like 1 or 2% more in the north or away from the equator than you do at the equator.
Slimming.
But then Neil deGrasse Tyson just came out and said that because they say the Earth's spinning, obviously you know that, and they say that centrifugal force means you weigh less at the equator. Like if you weigh 200 pounds, you're going to weigh like 198 and a half or something. If you go to the equator from the north, but then Neil deGrasse Tyson just came out and said he's been saying that, but he's been wrong for like 10 years. He said that because it's an ellipsoid, because instead of testing this stuff in his mind, he comes up and says he's been wrong and saying the wrong shit for 10 years, and because it's an ellipsoid, and there's a hump in the. He don't say it like this, but just so that people understand what I'm saying, there's like a hump at the equator of water. So there's more mass there. So it counteracts the centrifugal force to where the scales weigh the same.
Wow.
So he did away with the weight change. I think Bob the Science Guy would probably have a fit, if he came face to face with Neil deGrasse Tyson, man.
Oh, well, any
funny,
of them.
Man.
They can't talk about the globe, right? Like we say, the globe, it's just a shape, But that shape is constructed by each and every individual person. Because there's no way, you can't measure it. You can't do anything like that. You can't take it as a whole. You can only piece the bits that you see yourself together and come up with an imagining of whatever you imagine globe to be. So you put any people together and get them discussing what a globe is, they'll inevitably start talking about flat earthers. Because they can't. You can't agree on what a globe is. Nobody can. We've been asking people for years.
Yeah, Bev, you made an interesting point when you said in the north instead of the south. So that's where they say the weighted part comes in. I didn't hear Creaky Blinder, but I've heard that before.
They have to shift the weight, apparently.
Well,
yes, so they're staying in the north, like when you get close to the North Pole, that's where it's got to be weighted.
No, it's got to be weighted on the south end in the north, and when you go to the south, it has to be weighted on the north end.
Well, they say the closer you get to the pole,
by the tropic,
the magnetic field is down. It's going down into the earth. So the compass needle is magnetized. So that will tend to want to tip down towards the earth as you get closer to the poles. So they wait.
So not in the tropics. So in the tropics, I wouldn't need a weighted compass. Is that what he means?
Probably.
Well, this is they say so. They weight the. It's funny they don't talk about the southern compass very often.
Can we stop saying that they do? Can we say Creaky Blinder says? Apparently,
it's what it says. If you Google it, there's lots of references to it.
Okay.
But it's funny that it's all about references to the northern hemisphere compass. That's the main story. So the northern hemisphere compass, because they say that I was just reading that closer you get to the pole, that the magnetic field is in the earth, so that the needle is magnetized, and that's what makes it attracted to the north, the northern needle. That it tends to want to tip down towards the earth. So they weighted the southern end to keep it balanced, either on the card or in the fluid. And so I was thinking, well, if the northern tip is magnetized to keep that needle pointed in a direction, that if you were in the south, where the field is supposedly different, that the northern needle would spin round because it's magnetized. It would be equal, if you're on the other end of the ball, then it's just going to work in the opposite fashion. But I don't know, maybe if you're in Australia and you search about the compasses, it talks all about southern hemisphere compasses and says in the north. But,
you polarize it, right? I think that's right, man. If you polarize the needle, then you're polarizing it north and south. I think he's 100% right. I think it would have to flip if the poles in reality are indeed, polarized, which I don't see why they wouldn't be. But the way I imagine it is horizontal field lines. I'm not so sure about these fields going in the ground, but I can imagine that they do if you get far up north. But man, where exactly does that happen, and how big of an area does that happen where it's like vertical? Like nobody's ever showed us anything on this. Everybody acts like they know, but do we really know that there's, what would it be, a 50 square mile radius in the exact north under Polaris where your compass points straight down if it ain't weighted? I don't know about all that, man.
A radius.
Yeah, how would you even get there? You'd drill to the right, trying to make it.
But what would you be testing? You'd have a compass, and what would you be expecting it to do?
Well, when I spoke to people before, they said it just spins round. When you get to the north, if you're right on the North Pole, the compass spins, apparently. That's what I've been told lots of times.
Wow. That would be generating himself, wouldn't it?
So I think, well, how do you know? Have you done it?
It'd be nice if somebody would record it, though, like a plane flying close to it, or even somebody in the military who's got access, if indeed they do restrict that area, which seems likely with their defense, their that wall,
Oh,
whatever they call it. But it seems like somebody could film a compass doing a circle in real life. You know, that's another thing. Really,
doing a
we're just
180
going
as
off
it
what
goes
they're
over the
saying,
North
right?
Pole. So that it's pointing backwards as they go over the North Pole.
I still have that picture of the North Pole from that dude in a plane. They say it's like a ISS or some satellite, but dude, when I seen it originally, it was a video from a dude from an airplane, a small airplane. You could see the window and you could hear the plane and everything. And it's like they almost just photoshopped the bitch and called it from a satellite. But it's a pretty cool. Whether it's real or not, man, it does look real. But it looks like a big chasm, man, with like light kind of flowing down in there, dude. It's so cool looking. If you haven't seen it, I'll post it in the text. But it looks so real, man. It's if it is real, it's crazy looking, man. It's like ethereal looking, heavenly looking, almost like a big giant hole with light just kind of flowing in and bending on around up on the surface. So cool. I'm gonna post it. This one dude was
Yeah, I mean, they
supposedly
kind of
obsessed
make
with
it
it. The guy
like,
who filmed it from the plane, he was obsessed with it, trying to get to the North Pole, and because of all the things he heard, and he supposedly made it, and filmed that. It was like a VCR type of tape, man. It's old, and like I said, since then they photoshopped it and put it on a satellite or some shit. But that's not where it was, not where it came from originally. It was an old footage, man. I don't know.
yeah, I mean, it's presented like the North Pole is not really a mystery. It's the South Pole that's the mysterious one because supposedly nobody can go there. But hardly anybody's gone to the North Pole, and those that have been or said to have been, there's no real proof that they were exactly at some spot. And it's only in recent times that people have actually been recorded to have gone there, and the first people who travelled to the North Pole, if they actually did.
Well, what is
Yeah,
it? What is
yeah,
the North
exactly.
Pole at the minute? Because there's a group of people that say light in the sky, right angle, finishing off a
Yeah,
right angle triangle that isn't there. But, and then there's other people that say, no, that moves. It's moving around
yeah.
in a big, massive circle.
I read that it had moved 4,000 miles or something. Because it was like on an ice. It was floating on the ice somehow. It was on the ice. It's like, where is this place? Where is actually north? Where is that? It's magnetic and geographic.
You can understand
And
what
neither of
north
them are
is when you
90.
say north, right? It's just north. North is north.
Yeah.
It's when you add in pole or a point, right? Circle. Because by the circle you're putting a center point. So you're fixing a position, a location to that one place, which I think's the downfall, right? That's what the falsification's all about. The North Pole
it's as
is
much a mystery
a
as
location,
Antarctic,
isn't it?
really.
Supposedly, or is it?
Well, I mean, the globers say, the geographic isn't 90, it's 89.5 or something, and that the north, the 90 is elsewhere. The flat earthers say they got a 90 at the GP, but where is that? What is that? I mean, for those people who say there's a mountain there, then what's the elevation of the North Pole in that case that you've got doing your celestial navigation to? If it's, what is it anyway? It seems to me that they, assuming that it's a 90 there and it's horizontal from where you are, and nobody's got a clue about what's going on over there.
Yeah. Well,
just geometry that you can't solve.
Right, the spherical globe model. If they've got Magnet Mountain, imagine that, right? It's north, and you are on the side, right? there you are on the side. You've got your compass. Where's that going to be pointing? See, that might be why it's needed to be weighted. Because, like, you are stood on the side of the ball, and the compass wants to point at a magnet mountain, cutting a cord, effectively, right?
Look, the way in school, the way they depicted the solar system in school, what you're saying is got me thinking about that. Like, they should have it like this. They should have us going up and around the sun, because they basically, in the pictures they show in school and on TV of the solar system, things going around the sun. Yeah, that's got us on the side of the ball. If the sun is coming up over our head and then going behind us, if it's us moving or us rotating, we should be going up and around the sun and then back underneath, like diving head first. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, put yourself on the side of the ball and then imagine you're north. Where's north pointing to? If you're stood on the side of the ball.
Up.
Yeah, it's not pointing north, is it? Well, not if, you know, in your mind, you're thinking it's pointing like north on a horizontal. But is that where north is?
Yeah.
On their model?
That's the way I picture it. But I used to picture it like up, like a long time ago. I mean, I don't know why I thought that. In my mind, I thought that. Just some diletheism going on in my mind, but now
it is
north.
up.
Now I think north is
it is up.
Is up to the south horizontally.
No, if you're looking at it like as you would, and somebody stood on the side of a ball, and they've got their compass pointing north, as you're looking at it, that's pointing up. Because you're picturing somebody stood on the side of a ball, aren't you?
Yep.
So that is up. I mean, there's nothing wrong with saying that. I mean, it's pointing on the ball. It's pointing up. It's not pointing north, or maybe that's what they have. But you can't have a conversation with people. I've tried. I've been talking to people over these years about these sort of things, and it seems that people aren't aware of these thoughts that you should have, which normal people obviously have, but they're just thinking of reality, right? They're just thinking that when they get a compass, it's pointing north. It's natural for people to think that. Only the moment you enter into this really strange arena do you start talking about weighted ends of the compass standing on the side of balls, tangents. It's all like weird. Definitely not what most people would imagine when they come in here, because it's fascinating.
It really is fascinating. It is weird, man.
So how many people can actually think of these models as different entities and match that with reality? Or is everybody just doing that anyway? Is everybody
I can think of them, man. The matching the reality part, that's a different challenge.
Yeah, well, and that's not for you to know, is it? That's the realm of God. Everyone can have... If you can't have discussions about these sort of things with people in a calm and understanding, because everybody's got to be thinking these sort of things. They're trying to fit the pieces together of all of this stuff. The truth is that most of this stuff can't be solved once you start trying to implement some sort of a model. And that goes for the flat earth and the globe earth. Well, the dogmatic globe, right? This spherical ball model. That doesn't work. It throws up too many contradictions. Yeah.
This channel tried to do I did a little video about the Foucault pendulum, how they're saying it's Coriolis. You know, it kind of ties into the plane deviating to the right 1,000 miles. I mean, that's a long trip, but that's a big deviation. But so if you got somebody on one side of the ball, let's say I'm in North America and somebody else is over in Russia or something, and they're flying to the right because of Earth curve or spin 1,000 miles, they're going to miss the North Pole by 1,000 miles to their right.
Brian,
And I'm
Brian,
going north,
slow
and I'm going to
down,
miss it
slow
1,000
down.
miles to
Whoa,
my right.
you're getting carried away. It sounds like you're talking nonsense.
Oh, it's definitely nonsense, bud.
But most people aren't. They can't keep up with your nonsense. And these imaginings.
I thought we were making fun of models, man.
Yeah.
Sorry, I misread the room.
Yeah, but it's just too much nonsense. Everybody shuts off. There's no point in talking about it. That everybody's must have heard all of these things before. We were only talking about the compass because the compass.
That's something I do, though, man. I think of things so. I always try to find a logical conclusion. So I tend to overthink things, but I'll tell you what, dude. I come up with some interesting points in doing so. Because really, all I was going to say at the end of that is that we'd wind up being 2,000 miles apart in their world. And if we kept going, we would. Well, I don't got to go there, but it gets even weirder. And this is all in a model, man. It's crazy. But what I was going to say, and this is like supposed to be common knowledge, that the Coriolis spins a Foucault pendulum clockwise in the north, and Coriolis spins a hurricane counterclockwise. So this guy tried to demonstrate it on a roundabout, and he tried using 3 balls. And throw it toward the middle all at the same time, and it did exactly opposite. He was trying to demonstrate a hurricane, and it did exactly opposite of what it was supposed to do. It's hilarious, and the guy just left it on a stream and says, "Well, we couldn't do it very good because it's hard to time out 3 people throwing a ball." I'm like, dude, it just did exactly opposite of what the claim is. So common knowledge ain't so common anymore, man. I'll end it with that.
Putting the pieces
Well, I guess
together.
you got an.
Go on, sorry, go on.
Yeah, I guess you've got an opportunity, Brian. Now, you've had a bit of exposure from the final experiment, and then this little thing, this video you did with, but this, answer to QE or response, quite if you're going to go and see Oakley, you could kind of visit all the little factions of flat Earth and, give a little window into each of those worlds, see where they connect or they're disconnected.
Yeah, when he joined,
Do you
dude,
think there ought to be a common theme and a common community amongst people? But there's a lot of division.
In my opinion, he started the division, man. I know I ain't blaming it all on him, but that's when I look back, and that's where it all started, man, from him.
Can I
he thinks he's
just give a shout out
everybody,
to Sleeping Warrior, because he was the one that did the gravity thing with Bob. So Sleeping Warrior, I would say, was the guy, but QE's taken up for him, I remember QE did one when he left this place here, actually. He had a bit of a bust up with Emma when he was doing a video about Jesse Kozlowski. He validified Jesse Kozlowski's surveying across a lake.
Which one did that?
QE, but I think Sleeping Warrior put the division in mainly when he started messing about, talking about the gravity thing with Bob. And it's lasted, hasn't it? Like the Nathan Oakley Flat Earth debate crew has then, had a bit of a beef with the American Flat Earth team, who seem to have a bit more of a slightly better following. The more popular Flat Earth, if you will.
Yeah, maybe a little more popular, but I don't know. I think it's just a little more division on y'all's side. A little, not much more, but enough more to make it seem like it's more popular. I'd say it's
No.
pretty
I
equal.
think Nathan Oakley's nowhere near as popular as Jared, and as far as numbers go, you know, the American guys garner much more viewers and all of that than the Nathan Oakley and his flat Earth debate crew, doesn't he? There's a lot more backing behind the American flat Earth
Yeah, I'd
team.
say so.
Yeah, I guess the final experiment, you know, the last 10, you know, showed that there's a lot of people that nobody seems to know anything about. So there's a big audience of other people that are in other platforms.
Yeah, perhaps you can bring those people together, Brian. I mean,
That's
if
what
you
I was
want,
thinking. Yeah,
we'll go on
you
travels together, Brian. I'll come with you. We'll go and see if we can chat to all of these people about
all of those.
Yeah, all of them.
We can do it, man.
Yeah,
and see who they are and see how they fit in, and if they know about all the other, you know, the other parts of the flat Earth. Because, you know, I don't know. I guess we're in I don't know. Maybe it's just a little corner of the internet.
Yeah,
and the flat Earth globe thing isn't just here. It isn't just the Discord that we know of, or the YouTube people, or the kind of you know, the celebrities that we know. That because these others don't seem to know anything about them, about Oakley or QE. A lot of them, they just and yet they exist on TikTok and Clubhouse or whatever the other platforms are. Totally oblivious of this other world. It's kind of strange, but yeah, it'd be good. I mean, you know, if you were to visit, you know, reach out to all of those people, that 10, and see where they are and how they fit together and what their view of it is and things. It'd be good, great content, wouldn't it?
Yeah, that's where we've got mixed up, I think. People, you know, around this arena. We're here doing what we do, right? Now, we just do tests in reality. And as we say, everybody already knows it's a globe. But they're not aware of what happens in reality, right? Now, it just so happens that level is horizontal. And that can be proved. But that occurs on the globe. It has to. How you put those two together, that's up to you. Whatever your globe looks like, it doesn't really matter. You can have it for yourself. Nobody's ever going to be able to pry into your mind. But you've got to put level being horizontal on that. So it seems like when we came into this, we came into it with tests and, you know, problems, questions for people. And we've generated whatever sort of reputation or whatever people may have given it to us, or, you know. But I'd be willing to come with you as a representative of the real globe, and you can represent Flat Earth, and let's go and have a word with these people. See, you know, what they're doing. Unify. That's a better idea than what, like, Nathan Oakley's trying to do. Will Duffy's after people that want to be able to talk about stuff. Why not?
QE would never let it happen.
QE would never let what happen?
Unity.
Well, they're doing whatever they're doing. That particular brand of Flat Earth, the Flat Earth debate guy, they've already admitted there is no debate. So their whole thing is based around a title that there's never been a debate. It's a complete lie. So Nathan Oakley and QE and all of that, they can be on their own. They're going to be on their own. They can be the pinnacle, tip of the spear, right?
We go over there, boil some water.
Well, I've tried to talk to them. You know, I've tried to have these sort of conversations with them about, you know, he's got an argument. It's fallacious. He can't address it. He can't talk about it. Nathan Oakley's made an argument. Well, not an argument. He's got a statement, a ridiculous statement that's impossible to do. You can't measure anything flat. It's an impossible task. Yet Nathan Oakley says it proves flat Earth. So he's literally saying that an impossibility is a proof for something that he's says there's no debate. He only had belief
You
for
think
10
elevation
years.
angle is a triangle?
Yeah, they think measuring an angle is a triangle because somebody's told them. 10th man, he knows what he's been doing. 10th man's a very clever salesman, and he sold Nathan Oakley a nonsense. And Nathan Oakley's pushing nonsense, but he has been pushing nonsense for years. Nathan Oakley can come and have a talk about it, but he won't.
There's some truth. There's some truth sprinkled in with what 10th Man proposed and what Nathan says. You know, there is some truth in that. But yeah, the way they present it, I'm not a fan of it, man, at all.
Yeah, look, good to get some focus back, you know, as he's meeting some of those people and getting a focus on well, that the real flat Earth, if you like, that's rather than the one that's going to be manufactured by the Globers. There's, you know, the approved narrative flat Earth for people who are media friendly and, you know,
Yeah,
like
obviously
this,
these people are still going to have their channels and be able to have conversations after Christmas.
And you know, also to see what their response is as this is going along. You know, I mean, yet to see whether it actually results in anything and even happens or gets there, and what happens by Christmas. But you know, there's a lot of content to ask these people, well, what's your view now? What do you think? Or, you know, leading up to that as well. What do you expect to happen? What do you think? You know, those kind of questions.
Man, I wish we could unify the you know, even somewhat unify all the different camps and stuff.
You're probably in a good
To me,
position, you know, having had some exposure in that field. You
I
know,
tried.
the final experiment thing. You know, you're one of the top 10.
Yeah, but I mean, I've known everybody even before that, obviously, but
Yeah,
but not everybody, but you know what I'm saying. Yeah,
Well,
it probably did get me some
Brian,
exposure in
this is
a
the
couple
thing, Brian.
arenas that I'm not familiar with.
How many of those other people? I know you said that Cassidy, she knew who you are, right? She was inspired by some of your tests. So I would say, of the people that were on that thing, as to my knowledge, you're probably the most notable flat earther.
Yeah, maybe Chris Crum is he's pretty known too.
I've never heard of him. Sorry. But, you know, like, we're in a different thing, and we're not following flat earthers. We're following people come that ask us questions about the stuff that we come up with. We make arguments, right? We're not going out to follow flat earthers. It's not a thing we do.
That one dude makes the rounds on TikTok, but yeah, as far as making the rounds. But the last time I went to I went to FED to try and and find out what it was about the ether argument. Like I was trying to see what exactly I was missing. Why were they so against it? It can't be just because I can't show it or something like that. Like it was just so emotional. I was seeing if I was missing something. I thought that maybe I'm overlooking something. To me, it's just another argument against the globe, whether you believe it or not. And by 3 minutes in, I was married to the ether and getting reamed. And that was my last ditch. That was the last time I put an effort out in any kind of unity, man. Because we don't have to agree about everything to still have respect for each other, man. You know, and get along. And we're not to hang out every single day, every minute of every day. But as far as the different camps, man, just respect your brethren is what I would tell them. You know, you don't have to agree with them to respect them.
Well, there was a time when people respected the YouTube creators, you know, just as that. So you know, but it seems now that everybody's becoming more judged upon the things that they say. And they count, right? The things that people say and the things that people have typed or whatever, and people have screenshotted and kept hold of for years. They count for a lot of these things in these arguments, but you're never going to be able to progress if you keep talking about what somebody said ages ago and not taking on what they're saying in the present. And I think that's where it's needed. That actual conversation is needed in the present. It's needed now. People want to listen to this sort of stuff.
We've been around a long time now, and we need to. You know what? I'm gonna start kind of airing that out, like as far as the past, and even a few years ago, even a couple years ago, but especially 5 years ago, 8 years ago, 10 years ago. Like, yeah, we need to focus on the present and kind of clean the slate, maybe.
Yeah. Yeah, I think everybody who's listened here, right? I was going to go over your video because I thought, you know, like I say, I think of all of that, those people in those rooms, right? Do you reckon if QE had have been there, would that have been any different? Or would people, you know, other people looking in and watching that be thinking, who's that? Who's that?
Ain't no
guy?
telling, man. I personally think he's socially retarded, man. I think he's like not like totally, like, I'm not saying he's low IQ like he can't tie his shoes or nothing, man. Like, I mean, he'd probably say that about me, but I'm not saying that about him. But I think he's socially retarded. Like, I don't think he knows how to act. Like, I think he you know, he just doesn't know how to behave. So whatever the word is for that, I apologize if I wasn't trying to offend anybody. I'm just saying, I don't think he can behave properly, even if he wanted to.
Do you not think it's a character?
I could be wrong.
He's a YouTuber, right?
Could be. Just a character, but I've heard people say.
He's a character.
Oh, here we go. Yeah, I've heard people say.
I've spent so many hours listening to him, though it's hard to believe that ain't the real him. You know, but I guess that is possible.
I've said it many times, Brian. He is. He took the Rowdy Roddy Piper character from They Live. Go watch the movie if you haven't. If any of the audience haven't seen it, They Live. You can find it Prime, whatever. And that's the character that he has created for YouTube. That is that character. He plays that character. So he's a character. That's all it is. Because he started in the evolution shit, right? If you ever go back and listen to the introduction of QE, he started in the evolution game, and then he moved to Flat Earth. Right? Why would you move to Flat Earth? The creation versus evolution thing is definitely more mainstream, if you want to call it that, than this arena. But so why would you do that? Well, because you're a character, and in my opinion, you're Flat Earth society.
Yeah, I think crisis of faith or something like that, right?
Whatever.
Yeah.
Yep.
But I would go along with that. Flat Earth society, 100%. QE, he's here to make flat earthers look ridiculous with the character, like Kevin said.
Oh my God! When you put him in a couple. Don't you have a couple Buster songs with, or don't you have at least one Buster song with QE in it?
Yeah. I've got loads with QE. Yeah. I've been summoned by QE, because he likes to think that he can do that within these arenas. He thinks, well, he used to think that. It's been proven that he can't communicate. And the team of people he has around him are even worse at being able to communicate as well. He's practically got the worst team of people you could ever imagine.
Anywhere around him, This is how I know that it ain't just an act. And I'm not saying he ain't a character and all that, Kev. I ain't saying like, yeah, he's definitely a YouTube character by definition. But I know that's how he acts though, because I've just seen so many natural reactions. Like if you go in and you say something he doesn't agree with, he's not gonna respectfully disagree or just cordially, tell you where you went wrong. He's gonna go ape shit the second he hears something he doesn't agree with. He's gonna just throw a hissy fit, like an anal retentive little baby. Is the best way I can describe it, dude. Just bad behavior.
You're not wrong, Brian, right? But I'm saying he's that character from that movie. If you haven't seen it, you have to see it, because once you see it, you can't unsee it.
I've seen it.
So tell me that I'm wrong. The cadence,
that's why
right?
I can't totally disagree with you.
The pronunciation of the words, he is that character. He thinks that he saw that when he was a young man. It was a cool movie to him. He said, I want to be that fucking character. That's the guy I want to be. And I'm going to be that guy. And that's who he is. That's who he thinks that he is.
When you got to have an ego. We all have egos, and some of the egos in this arena are like obviously just so inflated. But then like a couple of them just stand out from normal reality. Like, what in the world, dude? Like, your ego is that important? Like, it's just weird, man. It's weird how you could get emotional just about anything somebody says you don't agree with, and just...
He's protecting his bullshit. He can't have people question it. Like, he's brought perhaps one of the worst arguments and presented it as though it's a real argument. Fallacies and everything, right? All built into this thing. And flat earthers are still doing it. Flat earthers are built upon the model that QE's given them for making fallacious arguments.
Did you see Flatsies? Should you go over that? Should show that?
It's ridiculous.
Oh, Lord have mercy.
Emma said at the beginning, here's a t-shirt idea for you, QE. Put a t-shirt and put mind your P's and Q's on it. And that's genius. That changed the entire outlook. For me, personally. Because Emma's a natural. There's loads of people that are out there like that. They just say things that come into their mind without even thinking about it. That mind your P's and Q's really hit something with me. And it took us down a logic route. And showed you how to understand logic and what the purpose of logic is. Not modern logic, like this traditional logic, so you can sort your mind out. And it's so obvious that, I don't know, model affliction we call it. It happens both ways. Anyway.
He could adopt a sense of logic down that same path, and still he'd have to change a couple arguments. He'd have to just really just squash a couple of them. But he could maintain it. He could maintain his point of view and still come from a place of logic. If he gave a shit.
Well, I don't know.
That was something though, mind your P's and Q's. Like, that just probably popped out. That's crazy. That does hit home. Like, you wonder where things come from. Nobody might have never identified that ever for the rest of eternity, and made the connection, and she did just like that. That's something else, man.
Yeah.
I mean,
yeah, it was just seeing the P's and Q's. But what struck me the most was when if someone like you starts noticing these things with people like QE, because, I don't know, like I say, I would consider you the most visible flat earther there is. There's other people that have tried, right? There's Jaren. Jaren has his own show. He doesn't really go anywhere. Whereas you've been on everything, haven't you? Is there a flat earth thing that you haven't visited or debated on?
If I find out about it, I will visit it. So
Yeah,
I'm always looking.
Yeah. So of all of this, you've been everywhere. QE's not. Like he's like you said in your video, he's just sat there in his little echo chamber saying that everybody else isn't a flat earther. Whereas all of these other people, they're all out there doing all sorts of other things that QE just doesn't know about. Because he doesn't do all of these things. He doesn't bother going and finding them. I think this is an ideal opportunity for you to go and find those people that you didn't know anything about. Go and have a conversation with them. See if they're real.
Good idea. Good idea.
Yeah, because you're accessible. You do go everywhere. You're not really banned anywhere. You do get around. I mean, I remember seeing you before. I got into it, the Discord and all that. I've seen you on debates. Yeah.
If you're QE though, like, and you're making a living, like, not making a living, I don't even want to go down that path because that doesn't even matter. But what I'm saying is, and you got a channel and you just make 10 instant enemies with just and laughing at them, saying we're embarrassments and we're not flat earthers and all that. And he never leaves his room, dude. He just stays in his little protected little zone right there. And here you got people, getting out doing something, whatever that each and every one of them's done. They're not just sitting there making fun of everybody, sitting on their high horse like they're better than anybody. Yeah, that's a good idea, Bev. I need to reach out to a couple of them people.
Yeah. Yeah, you need to get more. Make it visible as well, though, right? Let everybody know. Because they won't even know about QE's videos, I wouldn't imagine. I don't know how big the arena is.
I know Josh and Chris. And what you call it? Candace. I mean, not Candace. God, I'm about to choke myself out, dude. Hope you ain't listening. Cassidy, yeah. Cassidy, I know they know. I know they're aware of QE and Nathan and them, but I don't know. I don't think they watch. You got to you got to almost be like, I was a diehard FED fan. I used to love his shows, man. When people would come in, he'd debate, when he reamed people like Brenda and Rumpus, I kind of thought that was appropriate. And Bob the Science Guy.
Well, but then where's Rumpus gone?
I don't know. I was thinking about him the other day, man.
The Rumpus poll.
But the more places I go, the more I learn,
You have to do, Bry, because I'm going to be the top globe salesman. So see if you can get these flat earther friends of yours, right? See if you can get me in, and I'll pitch the real globe to them. See how that goes.
All right, I can try it. It might take a minute, but I'll definitely try it.
Yeah. I mean, we've got all the time, right? Like this is a new beginning, right? Because coming up soon at Christmas time, like whether it happens or it's not, that you're going to see a build-up of these new flat earth characters that they want to push, because they're going to have a solution. It's called the final experiment, right?
Hey, I heard David real quick. I heard and then I seen you clipped it out too, but I heard David Weiss that he found the Tiz globe.
Tiz globe, yeah.
When he said that, I was like, "Look at that, man! He found the Tiz globe, man." And then I was gonna tell you, and you noticed it and clipped it out, and I think that was important to clip out.
Yeah,
maybe we got to start
noticing it. Yeah,
get a presentation together, man, and on the Tiz globe, and I'll see if I can round them up, and we'll see if we can pitch that, man.
Yeah.
As good as any.
Well, yeah. There's I think the final experiment thing. I think that it needs to be explained about, you know, why it's called an experiment and why people think it's a final experiment and why some people think it's not an experiment, right? It's not. Maybe it's not a final experiment even. Maybe the reasons for that.
Yeah, I don't care too much about the pedantics.
I've made another song, but I can't, you know, I'm trying to find the right way of doing it.
Yeah.
But it's about this, you know, the circles. The sun circles.
Are you using a Suno?
Yeah.
Or another one?
No, Suno.
Yeah, man. If you put the right words together, man, it'll spit you out something good. Man, I heard a real good one you made. Which one did I like that you did? It was the Tiz Globe one, I think. I have to go back and listen, but yeah, usually it's going to give you some junk, man. You got to put together the right words and it'll give you a real good one just out the blue, man. And like it's done that. I've made so many of them. I got a small handful of good ones, but I see you starting your collection, man. It's addicting, man. Be careful.
I know. I've had it for a few months. I've got we've done all of Imaginometry. We did Tiz Globe, and there's 3 Tiz Globes: Globgic, Imaginometry. We've got loads of them, but we've got all of the other stuff as well. The website's obviously been there for quite a while, and flat earthers at the minute want to be able to imagine that they've come up with these new arguments, but they're unaware apparently of the website, maybe they are actually looking at it and pretending, telling everybody not to watch us over here so that they won't make the connection of what we've been doing over the last few years. And I don't know how you prove something's flat. Let's see, say level is horizontal, but we mountains.
You should do one about what is it called? The perpendicle? I forgot. I think it's perpendicle or sounds something like that.
Yeah,
that'd be a good
perpendicle.
one.
A plumb bob is a perpendicle.
Perpendicle, man.
Yeah.
You got to do one on the perpendicles. I think I'll do me one. Dude, wait. Do you got one about minding P's and Q's? That'd be a good one. Real good one.
Yeah, Buster's done that already.
Yeah, but I mean,
of this stuff,
we'll never be able to
Buster's
create
already
nothing like
done
Buster, but
even better. But Buster's is more melodic. Seriously,
but, I mean,
people
Buster's,
should go back and listen to the lyrics of Buster's tunes because they're all.
You can tell the AI. Like, you can, once you've done it enough, you recognize it, and there's no setting it apart. Like you hear that certain tone, and you know it's AI, and that's something that to me the musicians will always be safe because it's natural, and I don't think the AI can match that. I think it could really help the musicians to come up with songs, because you can put $10 in and write a song and get a gajillion different versions of it, and it's yours by law, by copyright law, and then you find the ones you like and then repeat the damn things. You own it, and so music should start getting better due to AI, because AI spits out some really surprisingly good shit sometimes, but it's just not natural. And so the musicians need to take advantage of that. And like I said, get the copyrights to songs, because you can put out so many so fast. Just take the time to write it. And really, you don't even got to write it. But I mean, I recommend writing it. Write what you want to talk about with your own words, and get 100 different versions, and just practice with your band on the top few of them, man. Enough to make an album. You could probably make an album in a month. A good one.
Yeah, you can make
Ain't
mindless
nobody
pop
capitalizing on this, man.
and stuff from AI. I mean, that's what it's for, right? It's not for serious music, although you can hear things like do you watch the UFC? Because you can hear them backing music. That's all AI, but that's because
Oh yeah,
the rights to all of the music and stuff. You know, they have to pay that.
right. Cheaper.
So why not just make it yourself? It's dead easy.
Right. It's easy. You could say what you want, and see, because I can't sing. I play piano, right? But by myself. I've never played in a band or nothing.
Really, Brian?
But
See, I never knew that about you.
yeah, man. I mean, I'm not a Mozart or nothing like that, but I can play a lot of songs. Just from having a keyboard when I was younger. Then I got a piano,
Can you read it?
and I just nope, can't read it. I want to
Freestyle.
be able to, but I think I'd rather learn Spanish. I just started that, but I got a short attention span. If you haven't noticed.
A lot of people have.
You have some good ideas, some interesting ideas, man. I think I'm gonna follow up on a couple of these, man.
It's all about thinking about stuff. Because, you know, Nathan Oakley and the FED guys, right? They've hit upon level being horizontal, right? Now, they're not aware of the problems and the complications that are going to come. And the reasons why we say 'tis globe. Because the outcome is always 'tis globe. No matter what. And when you go down these roads, we've watched it happen a few times. If you try and associate level onto the globe, but you have a dogmatic globe that's dictating something to you, then you will have problems. We call it the horizontal paradox. And they're not ready for it yet. I mean, they can shout and say as much as they want about level being horizontal, but at some point they're going to hit this horizontal paradox, and they're going to have to sort it out for themselves. Everybody does. And I don't think people want to take it on because it's too much of a problem. So
Dude,
people will just
they
shut it down.
gatekeep each other, though, man. They might gatekeep each other from hitting that natural barrier. I mean, it sounds funny, but they literally gatekeep each other. It's the damnedest thing, dude. But they're liable to just continue to do that and never progress.
Yeah,
Maybe
Flat
I'm
Earth
wrong,
and
but
Globe Earth have all been generated because of something that other people say. Both of these models within this arena have all been generated around what other people say. And so much so that they've generated their own terms and stuff. Do you know what a topographical plane is?
yeah, like a plane with terrain, just the normal terrain, natural terrain.
Yeah, it's an oxymoron. Shout out Buster.
Yeah, yeah, it is.
It's like a curved.
It's crazy. I don't recognize
curved
things like
straight.
that.
Curve level, right? Same thing. It's just nonsense.
But in the
Topographical
same
plane.
word, it's
Have you tried
within the same
Googling
word.
it?
It's an oxymoron. No, I haven't.
No, the same word is a pleonasm. Like an overuse of the same word, that's a pleonasm. An oxymoron is contradictory.
Okay, a pleonasm is a what? A overuse of the same word or a misuse?
Wait, no, when these people say flat plane, right? That's a pleonasm because it's the same thing. A plane is 2D, right? So by saying flat plane, you're giving people the idea that there's an other type of plane. There isn't. A plane's just a plane. But people are then allowed to believe in their mind that there's another type of plane, perhaps a spherical plane, curved plane.
A mean sea level plane.
It's a nonsense. But an oxymoron is something that's contradictory. Completely different sort of thing. And a topographical plane is an oxymoron. A nonsense. Both of those things contradict each other. So what is it? Like a straight circle.
Well, there's a couple ways I could go with it. I'd say that I can, I didn't think nothing about it when you said topographical plane, because I'm thinking like a base level plane that the topology is kind of measured from. But I know it doesn't work exactly like that, but I can picture that in my head. But or I could go this way with it. I could say, like, and this is what I was going to say earlier, is that as far as curved straights go, straight curves, like that's way worse, because like when we're measuring topology, we are using instruments like just the auto level was probably the predominant one with elevations in every country that I would imagine, and as far as building is probably the water level, but at first, but then you're looking horizontal through this instrument. And if it's higher than your crosshairs, then you chart that down. If it's lower, you chart that down, and you just carry it on. And you just extend it, based on Euclidean, based on, on reality. And to say that that's curved, that's worse. To me, that's crazy. That's a crazy oxymoron, or whatever we call it.
Yeah, well,
that's
isn't
like
that what
literally
you're saying if you put topography with the plane? If you say topographical plane, then that's a nonsense, right? You've got to admit it.
Yeah, it is a contradiction, man. Like I said, I'm surprised I didn't think of it. But you catch these things. But
well, that one was Buster, actually. Shout out, Buster.
That's a good one, man. But people see, this is the problem. I think, like, with people going around saying mean sea level is a plane that extends everywhere, and you've heard other people.
No.
They don't understand that mean sea level is they don't understand that mean sea level changes everywhere. It changes. It's not going to be the same, like just a few miles. It could be different a mile away, a foot away, 10 miles away. Ocean away.
Reference to a different position. There's no connection between the two.
Exactly. And another thing, this might interest you, it might not. Like I noticed something when I had auto level on a lake, and the wind was blowing. Not that hard, but it was blowing. Yeah, I mean, just messing around, just looking across a big lake. And I was just getting a view of it.
Not on the lake, though,
and
right? On the side of the lake.
No, like on the edge of the lake, yeah. And so what I know, there was a wind. It wasn't a big wind, right? But it was just a decent little wind. And when I measured, and one side was a couple inches higher. No shit. And I had to double check it, man. And I'm like, no shit, just from that wind. The water's just sitting like it is. Like, it was weird. I see it calm before in the morning and stuff. And I would have bet anything it would be level. And besides ripples, I would think it would always be like that. But just a little wind, 5-6 mile an hour steady little breeze. Had the whole lake offset by a couple inches. No shit, dude. You believe me? Or would you want to see it?
Well, I mean, how far?
Like almost a half mile.
That's too far, isn't it, for an auto
it is.
level?
It's a little over a quarter mile. Might be churching it up a little bit.
And what were you
viewing? There's a definite mark though on the story poles that I couldn't really. That's why I said a couple inches. I didn't say like, oh, if I didn't, I meant to, because it's just a little bit above the marker on one side than the other. So I couldn't tell you exactly how much it was off. If I'm being exact, but I guarantee it was off, man. In fact, I'm gonna see if I can do that today, and present that to you this weekend or Monday to show you. But I would never would have thought that, man. It's interesting, but no, I'm getting sidetracked. My point is this. My point is that mean sea level is an average point at each spot, and it changes. Like I've never checked any of this stuff, but I've heard that like between the Panama Canal, between the Pacific and Atlantic, there's a step, like a gap. Like I think the Pacific's a couple meters higher or something. Whatever. I don't know how much it is. I don't know if it was an inch or 10 feet or more than that, but I just remember hearing it and being surprised to hear that. And that's kind of when the whole concept of the mean sea level sunk in for me. It's like, hold on, so it varies around, and the tides vary. There's spots with really no tides, just and no good reason to not have any, as far as I could see. I know I'm talking a little bit about models and stuff, but it is, it's, if they're right, it's interesting shit. But the main point was that the mean sea level is an average at a point. I can't stand listening to flat earthers use it. I laugh when Glovers use the argument about like using it mean sea level as a plane, but when flat earthers do it, dude, it strikes a nerve, dude. It's like, no, don't say that.
Mobius has brought up a good point in the chat. Thanks, Mobius. We've been trying to say this for quite a bit, right? I know I may be guilty of saying level is a straight line on a horizontal plane. But, that was directed at a certain group of people. Mobius brings the point up that whenever you're talking about sea level, eye level, the level of a lake, the level of a swimming pool, you're talking about a vertical measurement. That level is vertical. And when you have 2 points of an equal vertical level, then you can connect those 2 points up, and then you have a horizontal connecting those 2 points on the equal vertical level.
Right.
That's the truth of it, right? And when you start to think of it more like that, you can get more of a realistic understanding without the fuss and confusion that people are thinking about here. Because it is a thought of how you connect those 2 points on the equal vertical level, and what happens to the line that connects those two. The shortest distance would be a straight line.
What was that one law? The law of connecting
communicating
water
vessels.
Communicating vessels. That's right. Yeah. That's pretty interesting, man. So to me, I can envision like a calm lake, but it's got to be completely calm. And for the record, dude, I really don't even know how big that lake is. I was just guessing. I need to maybe measure it, if I'm gonna make any claims or anything. But it's a pretty big lake. But anyway, I can picture that lake, like, but it'd have to be a perfectly calm, nice, still day. I could picture that, like, matching the laws of like the communicating vessels, but it'd have to be perfectly still. I can imagine it like that in my mind. But as far as big bodies of water, like big lakes, big lakes like Pontchartrain or Great Lakes or oceans, of course. Yeah, that I don't think that's ever gonna, for the most part, it's gonna be the same orientation, I would imagine. But I don't think it's gonna be consistent anywhere. I think it's always gonna be higher in some spots, lower, just due to tides and weather and all that shit. That's the way I thought of it. That to be pretty small and calm. But yeah, if it's the communicating vessels, you said, that's that's as good as it gets, man.
Yeah.
I
Well,
think that's.
it's a
I
good
don't think we could
basis.
do better than that. Do
Yeah.
better than nature.
If you've got a law, right? What better to use as the foundation of a test as a natural law that I don't think anybody ever disagree with, right? At least in the real world, when you want to talk to people about real things, then what better to use a natural law to be able to use, as the basis of a test or an experiment.
Yep.
We've just
When you
found a
got
really strange
moving,
group of people that aren't aware of it. But like you've shown us, or this final experiment has shown us that there are more people out there for us to have these communication with. It seems within this arena, flat earthers, particularly 24/7 and the flat earth debate guys, they just don't want to talk. They've completely banned us.
yeah, it ain't just you. They've learned how to shut down every argument at the ankles. They're not even interested in hearing any kind of response. Or I hate that, man. I really hate that. Like, he did it with Bacon today on politics. I went over there for a minute, and he's got Bacon being a liar and all this stuff. And within a minute, just for Bacon to say that he
is that Bacon that did the what was he saying
on a Mercator? Yeah, he said he did it on a Mercator.
But he asked him about
because
how
Bacon,
he measured it flat. And he then started to say something about he doesn't even know what an experiment is. And managed to shut the conversation down and get him kicked out before.
The one I'm talking about, Bacon said that he was coming in, trying to find an entryway to get 5 words out, I can imagine. But he come in with a little bit of humor or sarcasm, whatever you want to call it. I'll give Nathan and them that. But so Bacon comes in and he says that he's a flat earther now, but he wants to know from them how to because apparently he's been doing this CellNap wrong, all his calculations and stuff. So he's asking them, can you show me the correct way to do it? Because it's flat now, and I've been doing it wrong all this time, apparently. So if you don't mind, show me the correct way, which was, he's probably just joking or whatever. Who cares? You could look at it as BS or something, but I think he's just joking. But and they come off, and Nathan says use the Mercator map,
No, I
and
tried
Bacon
to tell
said
Nathan, right? You can do F all with an angle, because that's what the globe guys do. They don't.
Yeah. Exactly. So
they have parallel light.
So Bacon says that you're not going to get the proper circles on a Mercator, and Nathan says you will. He's pretty sure you will, and Bacon's pretty sure you won't. But so Bacon goes to give an example where because he did a lot of calculations on different maps and stuff, I guess testing them. But he don't go out on the ships and shit. He never really made that claim. But he said hold on, because first thing Nathan did is ask him what stars, and Bacon's like, hold on. So he's gonna go into his little program. He's literally made a program where he can put in the stars, and I'll tell you about that in a minute if you even give a shit. But so this is where he shuts it down. Bacon goes to get the stars, and then Nathan goes a little further and he says, what boat were you on, or where were you lost or something? He's just trying to pin him down somewhere. He's bound and determined to pin Bacon down where Bacon can't come back with these measurements and his examples on the Mercator map, and it didn't take him long. So Bacon's like, no, it's not my measurements. He's using some other people's coordinates, some probably listed coordinates in the books or whatever that you can calculate on whatever different maps, whatever. And so Nathan shuts him down and says, "You're lying. You didn't do these measurements. You said you did it on a Mercator map. You did it. You weren't even out in the boat. You didn't have a section." When really kind of Bacon never made that claim. But I just stretched out longer than their conversation. It was quick. It all happened within about a minute. He cut it off at the ankles. And it might have been a little, what's the word I'm looking for? Like the way Bacon approached it, like he's a flat earther now. That's obviously horse shit. But now he needs to know the correct way to do it. What do you call it? The word I'm looking for is like,
yeah.
No,
I know you're trying to come up with these fancy words.
No, it ain't even fancy,
not
man.
A very valid interlocutor. But
It's,
I think
yeah.
Bacon's just trying to find a way to communicate with Nathan.
Yeah,
Like,
that's all he's doing.
There's loads of people tried it, loads of different ways over the years, and none of it's worked. Now Bacon's trying to say, look, I'll even be a flat earther for you, Nathan. Please explain to me how you do this. How do you measure it flat? How do you do the celestial navigation? How does it work? And he doesn't know. He doesn't have the ability to communicate.
Yeah. Taught him what he knew, and he didn't know anything past that. Bacon's a math head, and and in fact, I've called him a couple times with some questions and shit about the radians and the degrees and shit. Because a couple things I found online that didn't make sense, and he explained a couple things. He's pretty good at math, but I could have called you probably too, man. But anyway, this is when we were doing the cell nav stuff, and so Bacon does do that though. He takes the listings for the star readings and stuff. You can get them off Stellarium, really. You don't have to be out at sea. But my point was that's where Nathan shut it down at the ankles, and then he shut another one down that might have been justified, the other one. But I see him do that a lot. So they're in positions now where they don't have to find arguments. They can say, you don't understand science, and that shuts down a bunch of it. Any Glober comes in and acts like it's science.
And all of those people,
they ruin the whole day.
Scientists.
Any Glober comes in, any new Glober though comes in and mentions science, they just ruin the rest of the stream, and they don't even know it.
Yeah, because Nathan Oakley and QE and Adam, they all have imagined that they've taken on the science role within Flat Earth. It's
not science.
I know, they're just making shit up. But they've took control of it within their group, right? And they're admonishing, telling everybody else that they're not using it correctly because these are the people that have done it. There's no difference between the Flat Earth debate guys and the dogmatic globe guys. They're just in fear of making their own dogmatic Flat Earth.
Check this out, man. If you come in, if a new Glober comes in and he doesn't know better than to say science, this is what I hear in return. Nowadays in my own head, I hear, you don't understand water boiling. Like that's, I don't even think of science anymore. I just think of boiling water. And it's like, you don't understand water boiling, and don't act like you understand boiling water.
Sea level. Mean sea level. You have to add that. Let's do a super chat here. You'll like this one, Brian. Godzilla. Thank you very much, God. Says, in my experience in this arena, Brian sometimes has been wrong and more often has been right, but always and most importantly been honest. Cheers to Brian. And
Thank you, man.
I would say that. I'd say if I had to choose someone who I wanted to be the representative of Flat Earth, I think it should be you, Brian. I really do.
Whoa.
Well, all right, Rob Keane. You could be second man. You could be second man, Rob. You can aid Brian. Fix his car. Fix his bike up. He's had an accident.
Yeah, I'm almost better though, man. It was pretty bad, man.
Yeah,
dude,
not bad.
I'm almost 100%, man. I'm walking around right now to Stoos and stuff, man. But it just could have been so much worse, dude. There's so many people who stopped, thought I was dead, dude. They're like trying to stop me. I'm like, oh man. But it was
So that
Thank
was
God
why
their
you were
roads
sat
are wet.
down then. Why you weren't? I was
Yeah,
wondering why
okay,
you
man.
weren't pacing
Yeah.
around with your camera. Well,
Yeah, no, I'm hurt. I was hurt.
otherwise you would have been, wouldn't you? You'd have been
Yeah, I
strolling
am right
around
now.
your
I always
garden
am,
talking
dude.
to Will Duffy.
That's what I do, man. You know me. You definitely know me. But yeah, I appreciate that though, Bev, man. I do try to be honest, man. That's the only thing we got. If
I
we
appreciate
start
you
lying,
doing it.
intentionally lying, dude, then we got nothing. Anything we say is pointless. But nobody's perfect. But yeah, I've been wrong for sure. But I've learned so much, though, man. Learned so much. So that's that's a good quality, and that's a quality I look for in a lot of people. It's an opposite of an ego, being able to humble yourself, being wrong, and being dead wrong, not some little dumb shit. You just admitted it, like you not fake humble, but we've all been wrong about things, and some men can humble themselves, man, and some men will just stick to the bullshit, man. Like that's what turned me off from QE. To be perfectly honest, is he wasn't willing to just simply admit that he had a hypothesis that water boils at a certain pressure and a certain temperature. And then he reamed Austin about it. And this is when I was diehard QE fan, diehard Nathan fan. He reamed Austin saying, "We don't say that, you jackass. We say that heat causes water to boil." I'm like, what? Are you kidding me? Like, that really upset me. And I wasn't like on Austin's team or nothing, dude. If I was on any team back then, it would have been QE in their team. And then from then I've started getting the feeling like QE's kind of brought Nathan down a little bit. But Nathan's his own man. I'm not going to go that far. But yeah, that was a bold-faced lie, and he wasn't willing to humble himself, man. And that I'm still waiting to this day. Like, if he were to tomorrow humble himself and say, "Yeah, I said that, dude. That was dumb. Shouldn't have said it." Or however he does it. Humble yourself, man. Prove you got a set. You were dead ass wrong. Bold-faced lie, and it's gonna continue to be a lie until you come clean. Humble yourself and admit that was wrong. It ain't just like you made a claim. You reamed somebody with a lie. You took a lie and you just dug into somebody who didn't deserve it on that point, at the very least. And you're still like standing behind it to this day. It's a bold-faced lie. But enough bitching about QE.
Well, no, that was what we were meant to be doing tonight, actually. Not just bitching about QE, but pointing out the fact that if somebody like you is having to point out to QE that perhaps he what's he gaining? I don't get what QE is gaining out of doing what he's doing, because it's quite obvious that, like, you were on that thing with those 10 people, and you've got the possibility of talking to them. QE doesn't. Not one of those people from that thing will think, "Oh, you know what? I'll go and have a word with QE about that." To try and put my case across, because it won't go anywhere. He's already administered the fact that they aren't flat earthers. So, QE's got this idea that Jaren and all of them are true earthers, or true earthers, as he says in his stupid voice. And then you've got like the globe earthers and the anti-flat earthers. Well, QE and Nathan seem to be the ones that say that they're the true flat earthers. Seems like everybody else is a fake flat earther. And how good's that going to be? They can't just be them, guys. They're the only real flat earthers. I mean,
yeah, like it didn't. He didn't. He just made 10 instant enemies and whatever immediate fans they had. Each person on that panel had probably at least one or two close friends. That it's likely that a handful of them were watched QE and stuff. He just literally just took a steaming shit on probably a couple dozen people, like it was nothing, man. Like, what separates you from these people? These are normal people, man. You ain't no better than them. These aren't dumbasses. they all got their own ideas, and I don't know, man. It struck me wrong, man.
Well, you know what I said to me? Because, we've been dealing a lot with the not that, right? That's mainly what we deal with. Something that isn't. It's just backwards. Everything's all upside down. And what QE's doing, like, people have been calling me a flat earther, right? I'm not a flat earther, but there's a group of people willing to hand out labels, say you're this and you're that. And what QE's doing, he's handing out a not that, isn't he? You're not a flat earther, even though they're on a thing that they have to have been proven to have been a flat earther for 2 years. But QE can sit at the other end of a Discord channel saying that they're not flat earthers.
The sound of flat earther is really getting worse and worse by the day due to him.
Yeah, well, I mean, it is a nonsense. And then whoever actually takes on that role is somebody who's taken on a nonsense to start off with. I mean, everybody knows 'tis globe. I don't know why people are arguing. Let's just discuss the things that happen on the globe.
Like, that's the version, like the true Earth version compared to the flat Earth. That's the true Earth compared to the flat Earthers. Like, it's the same as like the tis globe against the dogmatic globe.
Well, yeah, you can prove both of them, though, right? The dogmatic globe can be proven to be dogmatic, right? Just as much as the real globe can be proven to be real.
Yeah, you got the dogmatics in both camps on either end of that scenario.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and QE and Nathan are the ones that are handing out the dogma on the flat Earth side. And it just so happens that there's a guy called Flat Earth Dogma that's also handing out the very same thing as Flat Earth. It's nonsense how people can get away with it.
They know exactly what the whole world is. Got it down pat.
Yeah, so hats off to you, Brian. I hope you're going to carry on doing those sort of things. And if you do want to set up conversations, all of those people, every one of them that you've got over there, if they want to do a night on their channels or whatever, if they're content creators and they want to just have a chat, maybe get challenged a little bit, then go on, invite us over. We'll go and have a chat. Invite them over here. Man. You come.
I would love to do that. Yeah, we can do both. I will definitely do that. I love the sound of that. And I could set that up for sure.
We need to show. We need to show people.
Give me a reasonable time limit, because I know we're on different time zones.
Anytime. So it doesn't matter. I'm free. My lad doesn't go to school now. He's college. He's finished college. He's on his own. So I'm free to do whatever I want, whenever I want now. So if you set anything up, whenever it's convenient for you, let me know, and I'll be up for that.
Don't forget to direct them to on the Level Live website.
Yeah, that's what I'm gonna start doing, man.
I'm gonna be I'll start setting that up and getting it a bit more keen. Yeah, Rob Keen.
Yeah, that's good, man. That's a good idea. That gives me something to look forward to, also, man.
It also goes to show that
when you say that, let me get this straight. So I get it, and I think it's a good idea reaching out to some of these other people who I was on there with, and do you also extend a branch for like some 2-on-2 debates on my team against some of the dogmatics also?
Yeah, I'll go with you. Yeah. If you want to have what I've said, Brian, right, all the time is, if, like I said to Jaren, I tried to get Brenda and Jaren to do the false dichotomy debate, because it needs to be done, doesn't it? We need to point out that there's a dogmatic globe, and I'm guessing now it's pretty obvious that there's a dogmatic flat Earth group. So this false
yeah, it's getting
dichotomy that's been going on over the years, where these two false dichotomies have been talking with each other, and they've been doing that and keeping out the real conversations about the real globe. So it's about time we brought those in.
I think you're right. I think you're right, Bev.
Yeah.
I think now's the time.
I'll
man.
debate with you, but it won't be for a flat Earth.
I see where you're going.
Yeah, right.
I see where you're going. Yeah. I'd have to make that clear too, man.
Yeah,
I'm going to bring whatever points I have, and then I got you for the with the fundamentals, the first principles, and yeah, I think it'd be fun, man. But yeah, I see where it could go. I see where it's steering in my mind already,
Yeah. Does anybody else want to come in and say anything? I don't want to do a long one tonight. I'm not 100%. And my dad might be calling me. Anybody?
So this is how I'll DM you on Discord, and if something comes up spontaneous, I'll check with you, but obviously I'll try and line up a couple things, but shot in the darks and everything. If you can, you can. If you can't, you can't.
I mean, if they've got other places that they'd like to go to have a conversation or whatever, we'll go over there, or I'll go over there. But if they want to come over here, then I mean, we've already got a Discord room set up, so
yeah, we'll do both, man. You set up real good. I'm down, bro. Thank you, man.
Okay, cool. Thank you very much. Anyone else got anything else? Let's be signing off. Any requests, Rob? What's your favourite tune? Come on, Rob. What have you not heard for a bit? If we get the playlist going. It might be working. Okay, let me have a look. So what does everyone think of the Dave Weiss Tis Globe? I may as well finish off with it. As you know, Dave Weiss was talking to Owen.
What are you doing here, Philip?
Pardon? Oh, what was that?
I'm gonna construct a family tree, man.
That was Rob Hot Mic. Oh shit! Sorry. My wife wouldn't leave the shop. I was trying to talk to you guys. My wife wouldn't leave the shop.
Okay.
I was going to say, hey,
sometimes you just gotta
like Machine Men. Really like to hear Machine Men. I'm gonna go to the YouTubes.
Okay.
I'll be back in a bit, though, guys.
All right.
Thanks, Bev.
Yeah. And that goes for everybody else. If you want to come in, Discord is still going to be open. Just because we're stopping live, then In fact, the better stuff normally happens.
Are you doing your outro?
No, go on.
Wait.
No, go on. Yeah.
Okay, this is what I'm gonna do, man. I'm gonna find a place we were all at within a day, the same day, or within a couple days. As many people as I can find it in one area at one time, and I'm gonna make a family tree out of it. I'm not necessarily gonna label it. We could do that afterwards for fun, but I'm gonna see where all the branches go, because I just thought about it like just the people in here that were around in certain places way back, and then you got a couple other people and they're in this room with this argument or this belief or thought, and you got some dogmatic branches over here that branch this way and that way. I mean, it'd be interesting to put it on paper, almost like a tree branching out to where we're at now. It is, you pointed that out. It's like crazy division. It seems to be evolving nonstop, man. It's weird.
Yeah, we've got some good arguments, right? And it's a shame to not discuss them with people to see how strong they are. Find the strongest arguments for reality. It's the only one place you can make an argument is in reality.
I've got a couple good points that fall on, that kind of ride on the back of some of these arguments, man. But yeah, some of them are standing the test of time, really nice. Some of them obviously don't and ain't.
Okay, let us do my outro. Thanks a lot for listening. I don't know what's going on with this stuff at the minute. Life's really hard. We'll be back whenever we can. But we're always live in the Discord. Just come in for a chat. That goes to anybody. Thanks for listening. We'll be back soon.
You have the love of humanity in your hearts. You don't hate, only the unloved hate. To those who can hear me, I say, do not despair. The misery that is now upon us is but the passing of greed, the bitterness of men who fear the way of human progress. The hate of men will pass, and dictators die. And the power they took from the people will return to the people. And so long as men die, liberty will never perish. Let us fight to free the world. Let us all unite. Don't give yourselves to these unnatural men with machine minds and machine hearts. Let us fight to free the world. Soldiers, don't give yourselves to brutes. Men who despise you, enslave you, who regiment your lives, tell you what to do, what to think, or what to feel, who drill you, diet you, treat you like cattle, use you as cannon fodder. Don't give yourselves to these unnatural men with machine minds and machine hearts. You are not machines, you are not cattle, you are men. You are men. Let us fight to free the world. You have the love of humanity in your hearts. You don't hate, only the unloved hate, the unloved and the unnatural. Soldiers, don't fight for slavery, fight for liberty. In the 17th chapter of St. Luke it is written, the kingdom of God is within man, not one man nor a group of men, but in all men, in you. You, the people, have the power to create machines, the power to create happiness. You, the people, have the power to make this life free and beautiful, to make this life a wonderful adventure. Then in the name of democracy, let us use that power. Let us all unite. Let us fight for a new world. A decent world that will give men a chance to work, that will give youth a future and old age a security. By the promise of these things, brutes have risen to power, but they lie. They do not fulfill that promise. They never will. Dictators free themselves, but they enslave the people. Now let us fight to fulfill that promise. Let us fight to free the world. Let us fight to free the world. Let us fight for a world of reason. A world where science and progress will lead to all men's happiness. Soldiers, in the name of democracy, let us all unite. Let us fight to free the world. Let us all unite. Let us fight for a new world. You, the people, have the power. Let us all unite. Let us fight for a new world. In the 17th chapter of St. Luke it is written, the kingdom of God is within man, not one man nor a group of men, but in all men, in you. You, the people, have the power. You, the people, have the power to make this life free and beautiful, to make this life a wonderful adventure. By the promise of these things, brutes have risen to power, but they lie. They do not fulfill that promise. They never will. Let us fight to fulfill that promise. Let us fight to free the world. Let us fight to free the world. Let us fight for a world of reason. A world where science and progress will lead to all men's happiness. Soldiers, in the name of democracy, let us all unite.